And today we're going to look at the game itself, how the game itself is set up, and we'll talk a bit, continue talking about how the human mind works, because the confidence game is all about playing on the human mind, and fortunately, unfortunately, that's our control center. Anyone that can win over our mind can have control over us. That's how cults work. That's how swindlers work, 419. That's how the devil works. The devil is their father. So they take after the devil and they use it for all the different things that they do, which are all con games. Basically, a cult is a con game. You need level of confidence to get people into a cult. If you that's why they call it a secret cult. They don't tell you what is really inside. They sweet talk you into entering, then hook you, hold you captive inside it. So but it's all the same thing, just the same way devil hooked Eve. It's the same way his children hook people today. Whether it be hook you to hold have ownership over your life, control over your life, brainwash you, or take your money, take your treasure, or even a boy, um, a boy spinning a girl, so there is the very bad side to it. There is the bad side, there is the good side. That's why I say that we can use it for good purpose, because some of this is also what a marketer or seller uses. That they could either use it to sell you goods that are not worthy, that are not of good worth, which is pretty much swindling, or they could use it to get into your hands goods that you'll get benefit for, you get value for the money you're paying, but you don't know about it. So they use it to introduce the good to you so you can buy it, but you get your value, you get the worth of the money you're paid for it right after you get it. So there's a spectrum you can use some of these techniques for. It can be used for good, evil, it can be used for bad. We're learning it here so that we don't people don't swindle us, people don't use it for bad against us in such a way that we'll lose value. We're also learning it such that we can use it, in our everyday life to sell, everyday life to market, because in a marketplace is just what it is, a marketplace. You are marketing your skills, you're marketing your products, but the ethical part of it is that you're marketing something to exchange. To exchange value for value. You're exchanging the money of the buyer for something that is equivalent, that will produce value equivalent to what the person is paying, and even for a worker, you're exchanging your skill for the money someone's going to pay you. You're giving them value for the money they are paying. That's the ethical part. Though the normal con game is really the unethical part, where people gain your trust with the intent of abusing your trust. you know so again, we're learning it from different angles. We're learning so that we don't become victims, we don't become the mark, to a swindler, to an hustler, to a 419 person, and we have them abundant, especially here now on Christmas. Some people probably do 419 without knowing they're doing 419, and everybody wants something for nothing. When you want something for nothing, you're a swindler. You're playing a con game, right? If you don't have value for what you're asking for, then you're a swindler. I find it kind of challenging to give people money today, because I have people that work for me, and my priority really is those people that work for me, right? And thank God we're going here to be our fifth year. We're going to be our fifth year about March here next year. And I have never hold salary 1 month, one time, right? Everybody that's worked for me gets paid when due, right? And whether we make money or we don't make money, I pay. Right. And that's my priority, every month is to make sure that I pay the people that work for me, so I kind of got a challenge where the people that don't work for me, don't give me any value, are looking for money. And I'm asking myself, why? Why? I mean, there's a place to help people who I need, but there's not a place to help people just because they are asking, right? Uh, so there is that balance, right? And the marketplace, it doesn't recognize your wants, your needs. It's asking, what do you bring? What's your seed? You know, what's your seed, right? In the marketplace, we exchange money for seed. We exchange money for skills. We exchange money for value. Exchange money for talent, right? It's an exchange. It's an exchange. We don't waste money in the marketplace. We don't give you money for the sake of giving you money. We give you money because because you can fill that blank, right? Not just for the sake of giving you money.